here we go. So, oh my God, this is so cool because this is our first time actually like talking in like a video or like, I mean, half in person, I guess.
Yeah,
So this is so
like
crazy.
talking face to face.
Yeah, it's so nice to finally like talk to you virtually.
I know, it's so nice to talk to you. I've been talking to you for so long online, and I'm just like I'm so happy to actually just get to speak to you. And I hope that one day we can meet in person. That would be awesome.
Yes. And by the way, I have been listening to Mulholland like on repeat. Like literally, it's one of my top songs. Like literally, like when I wake up in the morning, because I have what is it? You know, Boyfriend by Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
So that song is my alarm because the beginning like repeats. So I just like have that to wake me up. So when I
That,
see it, like underneath it says like, would you like to return to like Nat Crow? And I was like, okay, yeah, always. Like so, not lying. So good. Love it.
I'm just gonna cry on camera. It's fine. No, but like you, I always it's so funny because whenever like I talk because I go to music school and like whenever I talk to like other artist friends of mine, I'm just always like, you have to check out David Diaz. You
Oh,
have
thank
because you're
you.
just like you're one of the like indie artists that I know that's not from my school and that also I just genuinely like I really appreciate the music you make and your artistry and I'm just always like you have to check him out. Like he's so good. So I just hope you
Thank you.
know I respect you and your artistry and your music.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But oh my gosh, I'm just so excited to finally like be able to sit and talk to you and like have this conversation. And thank you for doing this because I know it was kind of last minute for you. Um,
My pleasure.
but thank you. But the main thing that obviously you probably know about, you know, this thing is that I just been talking to artists about just mental health and I speak to artists specifically because I feel like, you know, because what we do is just so like emotion based and you know, we're always just in our feelings and drawing from those feelings and I feel like, you know, just creatives in general, we just feel a lot. Like that's just what we do constantly. And then, you know, we also have, you know, being a normal person, like, you know, going to work or like family or friends or whatever. So I just thought it'd be interesting just to have artists talk about their experiences with mental health. So,
Yeah, for
so,
sure.
so the one thing I wanted to ask you, I mean, one of many, is, you know, kind of, do you ever feel like um, on social media that you have ever, like, I guess, in a way, tried to portray a certain version of yourself that you felt like you had um, to kind of like make people think, oh, you know, I have everything together, or like, you know, because you know, like I don't know, I always try to say this to each artist, but like it always ends up coming out differently.
Mhm.
Um, I'm bad at explaining things, but like, do you know what I mean? Just like,
Yeah,
yeah,
like portraying yourself a certain way on social media that's not really like you feel pressured to portray yourself a certain way, I guess.
right,
Yeah. I definitely feel pressured to, not necessarily from any individual in particular, just from the society. I don't know, from the things you see on social media. Um,
right,
you definitely feel a need, I think, especially as a female, to like sell yourself.
for
Um,
sure.
and I think as artists, we feel the need to sell ourselves, and this is regardless of how you identify, like what your gender identification is. But I think definitely as females, we feel the need to sell our bodies and sell sex and like to be that on social media. And I am really not like that. That's not me at all. But it's hard because I'll see someone else doing the same thing I'm doing with maybe like the same amount of followers as I have or whatever, but they'll get more engagement just by posting a more like a pic showing their body more or something. And like everyone's entitled to do what they want to do. I don't care. But my point is that it's hard when society wants to see that from females, and it's just like I personally don't want to do that. So that's kind of frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. And it's true because like I do like I know both, like, all over the spectrum people deal with it, but I know specifically like females because, from the jump, like in our parents' generation and like our parents' generation, like women were just over sexualized, like in every industry, like whether it was like modeling or music or, just anything. It's just like, women belong in the kitchen or women, are only meant to serve the man and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, it's crazy because
Yeah.
we're still like, even though it seems like it was so long ago, it's like, humans have been around for hundreds of thousands of years. So technically, it's just like a drop in the bucket. Like we're still recovering from the stuff that, you know, that was happened like 50 plus years ago. So
Oh yeah, social media is just the new medium
yeah,
of that happening. But yeah, it's been happening for a long time.
it sucks.
Process. It's a process. It's a fight. So
Yeah. And it's funny because I said this to someone else, like, as much as I feel like we're aware of the problem and like try to fix it, it's never really gonna go away. We just kind of have to at this point like call it out when we see it. Cause, it's like as much as I wish like America could, or just the world in general could just be like this whole utopia and like everyone can just like be a fucking good person. Like
right.
I don't unfortunately don't think like we'll ever get to a sort of place where everyone is going to be like the best human being possible. So I think we should all just, just try to get to a place where we call out injustice whenever we see it and try to fix it instead of, like letting it happen and be passive about it.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely. Yeah.
so kind of just like with everything being based around like happiness and stuff like that, do you feel as an artist that, sometimes you just like with your emotions in general that you kind of have to like have like a wall up, or like kind of separate yourself kind of? Because like for me, when I started out, I was kind of nervous about being honest with my emotions, whether it was in my music or on a live or like at a concert, because I guess I was growing up, I was always scared about being myself because I was such like an empathic person and I did feel a lot. So I saw my being emotional as being like weak. So I would always try to pretend like I was strong or pretend like I didn't have, all these emotions. But so I remember before, like when I started doing music, I kind of felt like I had to portray this version of myself that was strong and like, not sad all the time or whatever, but I've kind of like learned that that's okay, and I just kind of, stopped trying to filter myself. And did you ever go through something like that where you felt like you had to do that, or you just did do that and didn't know why? Or
Um I think that here's the thing. So I'm very emotional as well. Very emotional person. My blood runs hot. If I'm happy, I'm really happy. If I'm sad, I'm really sad. If I'm angry, I'm really angry. And I find that more for personal reasons, I am worried about portraying my emotions too much because I just um I like I get a little bit afraid of people knowing me too intensely. I'm a very private person. I
mm,
have very specific group of friends, and I keep them around, and everyone else is like, you're cool, but you're like, I keep a very specific group of people around me because I'm very private and reserved with what I share to people. And so, with that being said, I get nervous about putting my emotions and things that are very vulnerable and personal into music because that's for everyone to hear.
right,
So it's definitely coming more from a personal standpoint of like, do you really want to like show this to other people because you kind of have trust issues and you don't really like to share a lot of information about yourself with other people. But so that's actually a conversation that I've been having with myself lately as I've been writing more and more music.
mm,
Just how much do you really want to put out there? And I'm still figuring it out, but I think I'm getting comfortable with the idea of doing it because at the end of the day, I'd like to think that it would help somebody.
for sure.
Yeah, to relate what I'm feeling in certain situations and maybe somebody feels the same way and then that can help them if they have trouble processing that emotion. Like maybe listening to the song will help them, you know? So I've kind of become with that mindset a little bit more comfortable with it.
That's great. And that's
Yeah.
really good too, because I feel like some artists, like, I mean, specifically even me, like when I started out, I kind of forget that, yeah, we make music for ourselves because, it's coming from us. So that's a given. But I also forget, I used to forget all the time, and sometimes now, that, we're putting it out there for a reason, and it's for people to absorb and like consume and relate to. So, um, yeah, it's just crazy how, like, literally, I know that there's, we're all human and we all experience things, but just like artists, like, that's literally our job, is just, feeling like constantly. And it can be draining sometimes. Like, do you ever feel like, after you write a song, sometimes like that's like after that one song, you're just like done and like you feel like you have no creative juices left?
That's how I feel, I think 20 minutes into well, because I like, yeah, I get drained really fast because yeah, so for me, it's like I could be writing a song and 20 minutes into writing a song, I'm like, I'm done for now. I
Yeah,
need a break. I'm done. I'm gonna come back to this later. Yeah, that definitely happens to me.
I
Yeah.
feel that. It's
Mhm.
just, I don't know. I'm getting over it a little, but like sometimes I just find myself just like, oh my God, I'm never gonna do anything ever again. And then I get another idea and I'm like, okay. So
Gonna go back to that. Yeah.
uh, yeah. But another question that I had was, so I know with in life, like, there's people who sometimes we feel like, just shouldn't be in our lives, whether they're like toxic people or just people who we maybe just don't vibe with or anything like that. But do you think that everyone deserves happiness? And do you think that you yourself deserve happiness, like where you are now in your life?
Yeah. I think I'd have to say, if I were to be answering this question from the most moralistic, correct sort of perspective, everyone deserves happiness. I mean, not everyone is maybe the best person, but who's it to say that someone doesn't deserve happiness? I think we all do. We all deserve happiness and peace of mind.
Mm,
Um, and me myself, I definitely think I deserve happiness. It's been really tough with this pandemic to get a hold of myself and to really do a lot. It's really really hard, but it's just a constant reminder like you're doing what you're doing because this is what you love and you deserve to be happy, and you can't stop. It's so, I mean, yeah, I definitely think I deserve happiness. I'm just working on getting there. Not that I'm unhappy right now. It's just everything with the pandemic has been really tough for everyone. I'm sure for yourself as well in certain ways. Like, so, but yeah, I do believe everyone deserves happiness. It's obviously like tough. Like someone's a really bad person, you're like, you don't necessarily wish the best for them, but I mean, I suppose everyone does deserve happiness.
yeah, I'm still learning that too, because I find myself sometimes like being like, I don't want to be the person that like preaches like, everyone deserves happiness, but then like when the camera is off, I'm just like, oh my God, like fuck that person, like they deserve to burn or something. So sometimes I try to like correct myself, because there are people I have issues with, and friends that I've fallen out with, but I try to separate like the friend from the human being. So I'm just like, as a human, like I don't wish them like harm or whatever. Like they deserve to heal or find happiness maybe on their own. Like I don't have to be involved, but like, I still think that they deserve it. But I don't think like I shouldn't feel guilty for not being a part of contributing to their happiness, just because I know, like, for me it's like best if I just keep them at an arm's length. So
Yeah, it's boundaries.
for sure.
Boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the word that I like really had to understand like the past 3 years, like, was
Yeah.
boundaries. Because I used to be such a yes man, like it was so bad. Like I tried to fit in and like do things I didn't want to do just so like people would like me.
Yeah.
And ugh, it was so exhausting. I was like, why am I doing this? Like, do I really need them that badly? And like, why do I need them that badly? So then I
Yeah.
had to do so much like soul searching and being like, David, just stop being a people pleaser and just find people who don't expect anything from you and like don't, just like you for you. So
That right there. Yes. People who don't expect anything from you, they just want you because they love you and they just want you in their lives.
mhm.
That is the key. Yeah. Sorry, that just hit the nail on the head. I was like, thank you.
No, yeah. And I was talking to my friend too, because like she was kind of having like a hard few months recently, and I hadn't heard from her in a while. And I was just like, I would call her to make sure she was okay. And um, I thought like she just hadn't been messaging me back because she had seen like on social media that um, I had been, just doing well and like been really happy lately. And she's just been like in a really depressive place and didn't want to ruin like my day or like whatever. And so I just like, it was at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was like, where are you? And she was like, I'm at home. And I was like, tomorrow we're going out for breakfast. And then like I saw her the next day and I was like, because like I love you and like you're my friend, like there's no such thing as like you ruining my day. Like if you are depressed, if you feel like you need to talk, if you feel like disgusting and sad and like you think you're going to be annoying, still talk to me. Like you're my friend and like friends aren't a burden to another friend. So um
Exactly.
yeah.
That's so nice, David.
Thanks.
That made my heart happy.
Yeah, it's just, I understand where she was coming from too because um I get it. Like I know what it's like to be in a dark and sad place and not want to ruin someone else's day who looks like, they're having an amazing like, week or like an amazing day. And it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna be quiet. And that turns into I'm not gonna talk at all. And then, who knows where that can lead. So I just try to be there for people who need me. So
Yeah, that's really important.
of course. And then one thing I wanted to ask you too is like, how's your mental health been like, with the pandemic and even before, like how have you been like lately?
Yeah. It's been a bit of a decline, but it's okay. I'm not gonna lie. It's been tough. I would say the last few months in particular have been kind of tough. I'm here in Boston. I go to school in Boston and I'm from LA and all my friends and family are in LA and I miss them so much, and I don't really have a lot of people here because a lot of people took the semester off.
Right.
So basically, Boston is pretty empty, and most of my friends left. And and my family is in here, and it's hard to travel. I don't want to make anybody come out, so I've been kind of here. I live with my boyfriend, so like that's been like good. Like we have each other, but nonetheless, you're stuck at home with one person every day, and it's hard and you can't go out, you can't do anything. When the weather was cold, we were stuck in here all day. I don't even want to talk about it because that
Oh
was
my
like
gosh.
horrible. You're from Florida, so like,
I'm from New
right?
York.
Oh, you're from New York. What part of
Yeah.
Florida?
So we moved here in 2001, but like I would go back and visit all the time. So I still have New York blood. Like I get hot here if it's like 70 degrees. Like I sweat. So I'm in like if I went to LA, like I would die. Like I swear to God.
You're right. My boyfriend's from Minneapolis and he gets the same exact thing. Like he just runs hot really fast and that's really funny. Well, for me, I can't handle the cold. It makes me depressed. So that was hard. And then yeah, so it's just been tough. And everyone that I would work with is in LA. So that has been hard, especially lately. I would say the last couple of weeks. I'm very excited to get the vaccine and to just feel a lot
Mm,
safer. And I'm probably going to be going home in a couple of weeks because I need a break really bad. And even my boyfriend was like, I think you should go home because you're like having a really tough time.
yeah.
So I'm fine though. I don't mean to I don't mean to be like I'm not trying to be
No.
depressing. It's the truth. It's been
Yeah.
but it's okay. I know it's gonna be okay. Just need to do what's best for me day by day.
For sure. Is there anything like you've been doing like to kind of help contribute to you just finding some sense of like, normalcy? Like do you do any like self-care rituals? Like do you talk to anybody?
I talk to my best friend a lot, who I'm gonna send this video. Well, I'm gonna talk about this video on my social media, but hi Chloe. I talk to my best friend a lot. I talk to my mom a lot. And I've been talking to my dad and I talk to my brothers. I just talk to everyone at home. It makes me feel a lot better. And then as for here, I've been trying to do more music stuff because I just find that when I do that, like when I get focused on that, it gives me some sort of purpose and I'm not just sitting at home like what am I even doing here in Boston? Like why am I here? I don't want to be here. It just gives me something like okay, like I'm here, like just make something out of it, do something with it. So we have this is our like little studio room. So me and my boyfriend come down here and just try to get some work done and that's been helping a lot.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So that's good. Yeah, those I would say that's really what I've been doing. And then I've been watching Schitt's Creek. Have you ever watched that show?
Oh my gosh, hold on. Let me see if I have it. So I've watched the show twice and everyone literally says that I'm exactly like David because I'm similar to him in some aspects, but my friend got me hold on, let me grab it really quick.
Yes. Oh my god.
Okay. So it's like do you remember when they got the shop? Yeah.
Love it.
It's
I
so
love
good.
it.
I
Oh,
wear it everywhere.
oh my god. Okay, I haven't finished the show, so I'm on like season 3, so I don't know what happens like for a few seasons, but I am at that point. That show has been my saving grace during this pandemic. Watching it, I'm like, thank God I have this right
Yes.
now. Otherwise, I would actually lose my mind. It is so good. I'm so
Yes.
glad you have that. That is amazing.
I love that show so much. I was so upset when they ended. I wish they would have continued, but they got a bunch of awards, so that's good for them.
Yeah, but I'm dreading the moment I get to the last episode. I'm just gonna like bawl my eyes out. I'm just gonna be
You'll
so
cry.
sad.
Like just I already know. It's good. It's so good.
Oh, yeah, I love that. That's been my other self-care thing is that show.
That's good. Yeah, that got me through a lot of the pandemic because I binged it. I think it was on Netflix or something. I don't remember,
Mhm.
but so good.
Yeah.
Um, but before we go too off track, because I could talk about Schitt's Creek all day. One thing I wanted to ask was, so I know everyone kind of defines happiness like differently. So what I wanted to ask you was, how do you define happiness? Like, what's your definition of it, or how do you view like the concept of happiness?
Damn. Yeah. It's an interesting question. I feel like I said this earlier, but it's just peace of mind. Now, for everyone that's different. Um, for some people, they have maybe a twisted concept of what their idea of peace of mind is. I'm talking about like twisted people, and
Hmm.
I'm like that's a little deviant. But anyways, everyone has their own concept of what peace of mind is for them, and I just feel like that for me is my definition of happiness is just it's just feeling okay about everything going on because so many things happen to us on a daily basis. This is life. It's just like life is complicated. Life is not easy. And I often have to sit back and think like, you're stressing out about this right now. You're really upset about this right now, blah, blah, blah. But one day in the future, when you're older, hopefully, you reach an old age and you're wiser and you look back at your life, like you're probably going to look back at this and think like, how stupid of me to have worried about that, like life shouldn't be so hard. It can be hard at times, obviously. And I'm not going to deny that life isn't hard. I mean, it's hard, and it's complicated, but sometimes I just take a step back and I'm just like, one day all of this is just going to be like a dream and it's just going to feel almost like pointless to worry about. So I guess that's kind of what I mean by peace of mind, is just understanding that all the things that happen to us, we can, they hold weight. They do, because we're here and we're experiencing things, and that means that they hold weight, because if it's important to you, if it's affecting you, it holds weight. But just to not take things so seriously, because when I'm old and I'm on my deathbed or whatever, I don't want to look back and have bad memories or remember stress and anxiety. I just want to remember life. Just,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I feel like that for me is what happiness is. It's just, it's peace of mind, and it's peace with the things that are around you and the things that happen to you, even the bad things, just accepting them and learning to move forward with them. That was really a lot, but but
No, I love it.
but that's kind of what I would think of with happiness.
That's a really like healthy way of seeing things too. It's like, especially when you said like with the bad things, because I feel like even though some, some people with the best intentions, like they believe happiness is like kind of everything except for the bad parts. Because like what I mean by that is like some people like accept all the good stuff, but they kind of sweep the bad under the rug and pretend like everything's fine. And I'm like, I
Mhm.
get where you're coming from, but like the way forward is acknowledging the hard parts that were behind you.
Yeah.
So, I that's the one thing that I learned when I was in college when I studied philosophy was, um, you know, we have to, because the universe is like the way it works is we have to define ourselves to be able to figure out like what we want to be and or how we want to move forward in our lives. And I was like, as simple as it sounds, like it's so hard because so many people don't see it like that. It's like that's how you grow, like from failure and from hardship and pressure and sadness and pain and uh it's the same thing as like a, I guess, a diamond. Like it shines when it's under pressure, and you that's when you find it. So yeah, it's just I for myself at least, like I know if I wouldn't have gone through all the bad stuff in my life, like I wouldn't be the person I am today.
Oh yeah.
Because it's definitely helped me grow. It's helped me, learn how not to treat people, how to treat people, how to love myself, just a bunch of different stuff. And, I that's one thing because I remember I used to like kind of push the bad stuff under the rug, and I would go so far as to like not listening to sad songs or like songs about pain. I would just listen to happy songs all the time. Then when I got a little older and like I matured and like shit got real, I was just like, yeah, let me listen to some depressing music, and it was actually really healing. You have to go through, that stuff to kind of let it go and release it and accept it and move on. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I totally agree with that. Yeah. That's that's something that I learned a while back too.
it's just yeah, like we said, just gotta accept the bad and just like move on to,
Mhm.
you know, get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I think what people also forget is that like even though you do accept all the bad stuff and you try to move on, it's like that doesn't mean like new bad things aren't gonna, pop up.
Yeah.
So, just all the bad stuff that did happen that you do grow from, I think it strengthens you for what happens in the future. So, when
Yeah.
it comes at you, you don't like fall completely down on your face and you just, get right back up and move on. And, you have enough experience to help someone else who may, be going through whatever you went through. So,
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
yeah, life is crazy sometimes.
It's crazy. Sometimes. Yes. It's
So
so true.
crazy.
Yeah.
But so how is everything like with your music, and like what do you find yourself drawing inspiration? Like what's your main inspiration for your music? Like what would you say that is for you?
I would say probably my emotions, because like I mentioned earlier, like I'm very emotional. I'm very sensitive,
Hmm.
almost too sensitive, but I'm learning to cope with it. Um, and I just write about the things I feel, because with any situation, I find something that I often say to people is like, I don't just write love songs. I
Mm.
actually haven't released none of my songs that I've released. are about love.
That's
Like,
one thing I love about your music
thank
is
you.
it's a nice change of pace from the love songs.
Thank you. Yeah. And like, I'm sure in the future I'll have something to say about love, but for now, it's just, I just find that there's just so much that happens in life and so many things that we deal with on a daily basis that I don't even have time to process any emotions from love. Like, I feel a lot all the time. So I really just write about the things that I'm feeling. That I
Mm,
would say that's my main inspiration is just literally like emotions and like the things that we all go through. We all go through these things, and I just find that some people kind of put a blanket over it, which I understand. Like some people maybe it's hard to cope with things. It's hard to cope with things in life. Personally, I've never been someone to put a blanket over because I'm just so I wear my heart on my sleeve so much that I just feel everything for better or
yeah.
worse. So I just take that and I write about it, and I hope that that's going to help somebody pull the blanket off themselves and like start to look inwards and feel the things for themselves. But yeah, that's what I take inspiration from is my my emotional spectrum. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I love that about you too, because like, and I'm not saying like that I hate love songs or anything, but you
Yeah.
like literally nailed it when you said, we experience so many more emotions than love. Like,
Yeah.
and I think one of the reasons why is because love is a little, I mean, like easy to write about. Because like I wrote a love song like a little while ago, my
Yeah.
first time ever, and I have never been in love, but like it was easy to write about. So,
Yeah.
um,
Exactly. Exactly. It's just
but
it's what you hear all the time, which is fine. Again, it's fine, but we hear about it all the time.
yeah, there's so many more. That's like same thing with my music. Like I wanted to make music about other emotions because like humans are so complex. Like we experience like combinations of emotions and like, different types and like, we're up and down and sometimes love just isn't involved. Like, anger and sadness and depression and anxiety, like while sometimes maybe love is, the reason for it, there may be those situations that's not based from love or is doesn't come from something like that. So that's awesome that you also draw from just the human experience. So
Yeah. I feel like that's something we have in common is just, need to put what we feel on paper and into our songs.
yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean that's basically all the main questions that I had. I'm just so finally glad that I finally got to like talk to you. Like this
Me
is
too.
amazing.
I was so excited. I was telling my boyfriend we were gonna watch The Godfather. I was like, "No, I have something." I'm talking to a friend of mine. He's like, "Who's this friend?" And I was like, "He's from online. I met him through online." But I love this guy already. So I thank you so much. I'm so happy I got to talk to you.
Of course. Thank you for being here. Like literally if I ever do this again, I'd love to have you and we need to do this like not related to like content or whatever. Like we need to stay in touch.
Yes, definitely.
Did you want to share anything about what you're working on or what's coming before we go?
Sure. I suppose it's all kind of up in the air right now because, like I said, I'm here and I don't really have access to some of the people that I would be working with if I was in LA. But the idea is I did just release a song called Mulholland. So if anyone wants to check that out, it's about LA. It's about my hometown and how much I miss it. I'm kidding. But it is about LA. And I may be releasing an acoustic version of it, which I'm very pumped for it when I can get it done. So
Yay.
yes, and then I have some new stuff written that I'm just going to be working on for the next few months. So hopefully that'll be out sometime soon. But yeah, I think Mulholland and an acoustic version coming out soon.
Yay. And I'll be streaming the original version until the acoustic version comes out.
Awesome.
But
Awesome.
again, thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
I pay to be happy. I pay